Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today's DIY is in honor of Titanic Week 2018. So Titanic Week is, to me, it's the April 10th to 15th, the anniversary of the maiden voyage and the sinking of the RMS Titanic, and it's something I've been sort of observing since I was about 11. I think I got this hat from the Army surplus store here in Calgary when I was in late elementary school, and I have been bringing it out and wearing it for 5 days in April ever since. So I love the Titanic. I've loved the Titanic since I was, I think, about 6 when I read the first book about it, and it really sparked my interest. And it's actually what ended up getting me into web design. And you could probably say my love of Titanic is why Humblebee and Me exists. So today's DIY is inspired by Vinolia, which is the soap that they gave the first class passengers, and it was a high-end luxury soap scented with rose and lemon. So today we're making rose and lemon bath bombs. So here they are. I'm so happy with how these turned out. So we have a nice bath bomb base with some skin softening Epsom salts and lots of good fizz from baking soda, which is basic, which will react with the citric acid, and the cream of tartar we have in here, which are acidic. And then I've also added little bits of crumbled up dried rose petals. So that's where this lovely sort of soft pink speckled texture comes from. And then I've done a gorgeous mica drizzle. So this is something that I've been seeing a lot on Instagram on other people's bath bombs. And I was like, that is a thing I need to try because it looks amazing. And I had so much fun with it. And guys, like, they smell so good. They look so good. It's almost gonna be a kind of a crime to put these in my bath, but I think I'll manage. So yeah, let's go get started. We're going to begin by mixing our dry ingredients together in this big bowl. So in this big bowl, I already have 416 grams of baking soda. And to that, we're going to add 218 grams of citric acid, 73 grams of Epsom salts, 30 grams of cream of tartar, and 3 grams of sort of powdered rose petals. So what these are is I've got a bag of really nice rose petals here that are all bright and vibrant, but towards the bottom they start to break up and we get this rose petal powder, and I thought it would be a good way to use it by incorporating some of it into the bath bombs to give them some really pretty pink flecking. Let's get that in there, and we're going to give this a bit of a stir. Now we're going to add our melted oil parts. So in here we have 16 grams of Polysorbate 80 and 32 grams of refined shea butter. So to mix this, you can see I'm kind of doing a streaking motion. This is because I'm trying to break up these clumps of oil and incorporate them. And now we're going to add our scent, our fragrance. So in here we have a blend of 5-fold lemon essential oil and a rose fragrance oil, because rose essential oil is obscenely expensive. It's about $100 a teaspoon. So that right there would have been like $50 worth of rose essential oil. So yeah, I use a fragrance oil for rose scents for that reason. I know some people will use rose geranium instead. I personally find rose geranium to be quite cloying and not really that close of an approximation for rose. So I just go ahead and use a fragrance, but that is up to you. So we're going to get this a bit of a stir so that when I stick my hands in here, the essential oils are reasonably well dispersed, so I don't smell too much like a bouquet for the rest of the day, though that's not really that big of a deal now, is it? All right. I'm going to get my hands in here now, and those melted oils should have had a good chance to cool down too. They were pretty warm when I poured them in. So now, similar to a biscuit dough, I kind of want to get in there and crumble to break up any clumps that the oils have made or any clumps that are remaining from when you measured your powders in there. All right, so that's feeling fairly uniform. I definitely sort of see blobs, but when I go for them to break them down, I can, like, they're not really substantial. They're just because this mixture has enough oil in it that it's sort of prone to clumping together a bit, which is, actually, what we want. Because obviously we want this mixture to hold together and form bath bombs. So let's give it a squeeze and see how she does. Obviously we will still need to add some actual liquid, but this gives us a good feeling for it. Like we definitely have all the oils well distributed because, you know, it'll hold together fairly well. And this is a good place to start adding our other liquids. So we're going to do a blend of witch hazel and 70% isopropyl alcohol. I have both of these in mister bottles. And so we choose these liquids because they react significantly less with our bath bomb mixture. So we're going to start with witch hazel and then add isopropyl alcohol to sort of push it to the final point. So here we go. You want to add a couple mists and then really quickly get in there and distribute it so that you avoid getting any moisture to sort of the point where it's concentrated enough that it'll start to trigger a reaction. Even just those sort of 2 rounds of spritzes have made a really big difference. So I'm just going to make sure this is really thoroughly stirred, get right down to the bottom there, do a little bit more witch hazel. Hey, that's really looking great. So we're going to switch to alcohol now. Okay, well, let's give this a test in our mold and see how she does. So this here is a spherical bath bomb mold from Windy Point. And so we kind of want to loosely scoop a generous amount in there. Just give her a wee pat. We're not ramming it in there. We're just kind of patting it down. Press your 2 halves together. And dust off the edges. Don't twist the mold. Then we're going to give it a little whack. Usually I'd use a spoon, but I don't have one here. So, and then gently lift and roll and lift. And hey, that looks pretty good. So now we can start putting them aside here. And off to the races. So there we go. We did pretty well. I just kind of had one casualty. And we've got a little bit of powder left in here, so I thought we could pour a bit of water in here and see how that fizzes up. And we are going to decorate these beauties. So I have 2 different micas here. The idea is that this is sort of the rosy one and this one's kind of the lemony one, but then I was going through my micas and I got quite seduced by the idea of sort of more of like a rose gold thing. So this is foliage from TKB Training and this is reformulated pink coral. So the general idea is that it's sort of a rose representation, so any kind of a pink or red will work, and a lemon representation, so something goldish or yellowish will work. And so we are going to make ourselves some sort of drizzles, because I've been seeing these gorgeous drizzled, mica drizzled bath bombs on Instagram, and I love them and I want to make some. So this is some 70% isopropyl alcohol, and so we're choosing this so that, you know, it doesn't react with the bath bombs. And kind of make a bit of a slurry here. There's 1 gram of each of these micas. And then I've got pipettes, disposable pipettes. And I think the general idea here is to, you know, not be too fussy with it. It's supposed to look kind of abstract. Try a different direction for the goldy ones. So some of these definitely are reacting. So next time I'd probably try a 99% isopropyl alcohol and see how that goes, and then maybe use a little bit less liquid. All right, well, all that's really left to do is leave these to dry. The sort of paint mica stuff will dry, and then the bath bombs will dry. I would definitely leave them at least overnight before using them so they can harden up. But yeah, I'm sure happy with how those turned out. I'm really looking forward to dropping one in my bath. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe. Do remember to check that description box below the video. That's where you'll find everything written out, the recipe all written out in amounts, and the link to this recipe on my blog where everything is written out, all the instructions, the links to all the ingredients and everything. So yeah, thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.